Welcome back to another episode. Appreciate you tuning in as always. I'm going to get right into it because this is the Connecticut COVID-19 update numbers, so to speak. So these usually take about 25 minutes. I'm trying to get them a little shorter, but sometimes I can't quite get them as short as I would like to. But as you can see up here, Connecticut COVID-19, the last one we had done was April 9th, and today's April 18th. So today's a Sunday, which means it covers Saturday, covers Friday, so we're really at the 16th. But for these purposes, I want to be accurate and put down the actual date. Now we're going to look at the differences between. We're going to run down the basic starting numbers, and then we're going to go into where things get a little strange. 321,856, we jumped up to 329,062. A little over 8 million tests and a little over 8.2 million tests. Now keep in mind, please, that, and this is just a rough number, it's 305 plus million is the population of Connecticut. It's under 3.6. It's 3.5. It's 3,580,000 something or other. I don't have right in front of me at the moment. What we see is 531 hospitalizations on April 9th. We've gone down to 486. We were at 7,944 deaths. We were at 7,995. Now here's where it gets sadly interesting. We have had since that time, since the April 9th to the beginning of this weekend, because the numbers close on Friday and they don't post anything over the weekends on the database at the Connecticut Healthcare Department, or Department of Health, sorry. We've had a jump, not really a jump, we've had 29, 34, 48, 49, 54 new deaths. But here's where it's interesting. April 9th, we had 2 deaths between the ages of 0 and 9. 1 death as of today. 10 to 19 stayed the same, there was no change. 20 to 29, we had 9 deaths on April 9th. April 18th, we have 8 deaths. Now we have -1 change in deaths. 30 to 39, you had 40 deaths on April 9th. April 18th, you have 39 deaths. That's 3 now. That's -3 change. I'm sorry. Now, I know that I'm a Christian. Fair enough. But I'm doubting that these people were resurrected from the dead. I hate to cast doubt and aspersions on anyone, but I'm pretty sure that they did not come back to life. Another clerical error, huh? Well, people sometimes look at these raw numbers and like, oh no. But they're not true. They're taking away deaths where they go. And if you follow this channel, this is not the first time that this has happened. In fact, I believe this is the 3rd time, ironically. 1, 2, 3, 3rd time. Interesting. I think it's the 3rd time. Could have been 4 times, but I'm definitely sure it was 3 times that I have it documented that deaths just disappeared. One of my favorites were the elderly. There were some deaths that went up or went down. So when they were missing deaths, they went up by the exact same amount that were down here that were missing. Coincidence, I'm sure. So we have a 71.9%, and these are the ones I talk about, the success rate of survival rate as we look at these. So April 9th, we have 96.90 success rate or survival rate, and then over here, as I'm going to cross the screen here, I'm looking at my screen over there to make sure I'm not blocking anything off, 96.89, so we kind of went down from last week by 0.01. Now we have 70 to 79 years old, 89.57. We stayed the same, no change there, still the same survival rate. 80 and over, 71.90. We went to 71.98. Still not up to our highs of February 9th. I'm going to get to that, except we're not going to talk about February. We're going to talk about January 13th. So, which is, again, I've got to look up when the first vaccination rollout was. I keep thinking it's December 13th. It could be December 14th. I really got to look it back up and have it written down on the side so I don't misquote the day. So no one goes, oh, you made a clerical error too. Anywho. So notice the change in deaths. Obviously, we talked about the miraculous resurrection here in Connecticut of people. And people say, isn't that good that there's not as many? Well, yeah, but the problem is you mislead people. I'm beginning to think on purpose. So you have 6 new deaths in that 1 week span, and you had 48 here, which isn't a surprise. We've talked about this before. The older you are, the higher chance you're not going to get better, even though these percentages are pretty darn good. Now, let me move out of screen. Move across the screen. Now let's look over here, and we saw the difference, the success rate and the numbers we talked about here. What I did want to talk about is the 3-month, well, we're going to talk about January 13th, okay? That is, if you go January to February, February to March, March to April, 3 months. So you look at the success rate. There was 1 death back on January 13th. There was 2 deaths, April 9, and now we're back to 1 death here on April 18th. Amazing. So no change there. So there's no change in 3 months, and that's a good thing, by the way. Now, in 10 to 19, there was 1 death, and then we went up to 4 April 9th and 4 again, so that stayed the same. 7 deaths back in January, 9 deaths here in 2029, and back down to 8 deaths here, so 1 new death. So we looked at that. We looked at 32 that went up to 39. Well, went up to 40, then to 39. Maybe. So plus 7 there. And we looked at 40 to 49 years old. So, I'm going to skip to what I really want to talk about. I don't want to bore you with too many numbers. Let us look at what we always talk about and where the fear-mongering was until they turned into fear-monger of children. When they went, oh, look, another one died. Oh, wait, no, they didn't. So we looked at the success rate back on January 13th between the ages of 60 and 69. We're at a 96.52 back in January. Look over here, 60 to 69. We've gone up only a 0.47, so not even a 0.5% better in survival rate. 3 months later, only a 0.5% or just under a 0.5%. Between the ages of 70 and 79, it went up 0.61%. So it went from a success rate of 88.94 to 89.57. I'm not complaining that the success rate has gone up. It's that it should have gone up higher if the vaccines were supposed to do this miraculous thing. It's tough to take credit for something that was already trending. If something was already successful, and then you take credit for something that's already I'm going to go off. I never understood that, And it's like, man, I don't know. I'm trying to be successful at real estate. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. And then somebody gives you like 5 apartment buildings and a couple of houses that you can rent out. They give it to you for free. And you're like, all right, I'm doing great. I bought another couple of houses. I'm doing a great job successfully. I'm like, really? But you already had something given to you. And now you're going to, anyways. All right, so we look at that. Now, what is interesting, and again, not to me, and not to, there are different people like myself who've been following these numbers. It's not a big surprise. So 80 and over, you had a 72.16. And then on February 9th, you had a 72.28 survival rate. And currently, we have a 71.98 in April. So, not only did we not reach the survival rate of February 9th, we've also not reached January 13th. We're only here. Are we going up? Yes. But we're still minus 0.18 from our high of February. And what did I talk about before? The 3 months previous. The 3 months previous leading up to the vaccine rollout, each month was an average success rate of 3% each month. So, I know I'm getting crazy, but 3%, if people were getting better each month before the vaccine was rolling out, it was trending, then this number should be higher, that number should be higher, and that certainly should be higher. Those are the facts. They're there. So why is it now, since the rollout, since the rollout, we've gone up how much? Not by much. Look at January. So December to January is only 1 month, but January to April, we've gone up this. This is our big leaps and bounds. 0.02. That's gone. The success rate went down, so that's 0.01. But 0.02, 0.01, 0.07, 0.47, 0.61, 0.18. Not even a full percent for anybody to go higher in the success rate since January. Look at it, January. 99.99 success survival rate. 99.99, 99.98, 99.90, 99.70, 99.09, 96.52, 88.94, 72.16. Then we'll read off these numbers. 99.99, 99.98, which is down from here. 99.98, 99.92, which is up. 99.71, 99.16, 96.89, 89.57, 71.98. Where's the big leaps and bounds? Where's the big giant steps and leaps we're going to take? It was what a success. Another thing we want to look at is the death. So since January, you've had 1,460 more deaths, which averages 486 per month. See the changes here. We talked about plus 3 deaths, plus 1 death, plus 7, plus 41, plus 107, plus 212, plus 334, plus 75. But this is supposed to happen. None of this is out of the ordinary, no matter what you have, whether it be COVID-19, COVID-18, the flu, COVID-72, COVID, whatever you want to put on it, every time you're going to have this number higher. That's just the way it is. That's the human body. The moment we think we're gods and we can just suddenly make ourselves immortal, what was that? I think there was an old TV program back in the 90s or something like Highlander or something like that. You're not immortal. Even though there are some doctors and scientists who would like to see us live to 200 or maybe even freeze us and become robots someday. Get out of here. So as you can see, there is, I don't want to say anything nefarious going on. I don't want to use those words. But you explain to me how this can change. And again, we talked about this is not the first time people have been resurrected from the dead in Connecticut, nor is it the second time. It is, to my memory, 3 times, and it could be more. 3 times. The numbers aren't accurate. That's a problem. If I can't trust you with these numbers, how can I trust the government with all of these numbers? Well, Stephen, that's a lot of numbers that you keep track of. It's not the easiest thing in the world to do. Okay, I can see you being late to report a death because there's so many. So, we couldn't keep up. There were so many deaths, so we didn't get them all in time. Not that we got them in, but they weren't actually. So we're going to take them back out. Just like the fact that, the law, I forget where it is, California, New York. I apologize which state. I was listening to this on the news, that how they were going to cover funeral costs for people who were directly, the cause of death was directly COVID-19. See, pay attention to that sentence, directly. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, people died of COVID-19 because they had these other issues. Well, you watch, they're going to do that. Well, they didn't die directly of COVID-19. Then they'll suddenly talk about the other underlying issues that were the problem. No, those were all the problems. That's why they died of COVID-19. It wasn't the direct cause. See, it's all about verbiage. It's all about verbiage with them. You got to be careful. A bunch of car salesmen. I'm starting to think car salesmen, if you're anybody watching, I think you're smarter than these guys. You're a little more smoother on your approach than these guys. Even with the 1970s and 80s car salesmen, they're still smoother than these guys in government. So pay attention to these numbers. January 13th. Now, February, like I said, February 9th, as I'm probably blocking the screen back there, and I apologize. So February 9th, same thing. 80 and above, what was it, 72.16. February 9th, 72.28. Neither of these numbers have we gotten to yet. We're right there though. We didn't break 72, and I hope we do. By the way, I'm gonna be excited when we do. I'm gonna be very happy. But the problem is we would have already done that. I'm firmly convinced of that. When you follow the trending of the numbers, the trajectory of the numbers pre-vaccine, they were already going in this direction. In fact, I will argue that they would have been slightly higher. $16 per day. I was going to look at some other records, but the numbers about people dying from per day, and suicide, drug overdose. And I'm not knocking COVID-19 and saying that nobody's dying of it. I think that the extreme misconception people have of what I'm saying is that I don't believe in COVID-19. No, I believe in COVID-19. I believe in the flu. I believe in the cold. I believe in viruses. Viruses are not fake. Well, some might have been helped along the way. Just saying. In different places. I'm not going to say which ones. But there's been a couple. If you're in Connecticut or anywhere else, I'll be doing some Delaware numbers quickly in my next video. But if you're in Connecticut, you really need to tell Governor Lamont, well, what are you going to do? Tell him. Walk up to his door and tell him that we are successful. Excuse me. We were successful before the vaccine rollout. We were extremely successful, and we're still successful. What they use for numbers to guide by, I'm confused at. I mean, it is absolutely amazing. And look at the towns. If you're in Connecticut, you look in different areas and towns where they're successful. Yes, some because there's less people, they're in the rural countries. But you'll notice in those certain areas, I've talked to a couple of people who go to certain towns that are basically, wink, wink, nod, nod, maskless. They end up having the higher success rate. They have the lowest problems. Coincidence? Perhaps. Don't think so. Perhaps. It's probable. Huh? If anybody watches me, that's a joke, and you might get that one from a previous video or previous videos. I don't know which one we talked about, but probable deaths. Probable. Maybe. Could be. Don't know. Maybe. But they'll pull that probable, like I said, with the funerals. When you go to ask them to cover the cost for your loved one dying of COVID-19, they're like, well, it was probable they died. It's not guaranteed they died. We listed it as a COVID-19 death, but it was actually not really a COVID-19, even though it was a COVID-19, but it was other issues. It's a game. And those of you who are old enough know the game. It's been a long time. Well, I mean, it's like when somebody says, we'll take anything except for. We take no matter what, absolutely 100% except for. Well, then it's no longer 100%. All right, I'm going to let you go on this video. I wanted to make this as quickly as possible. As quickly as possible. Why do I always say that in the sentence? It always sounds wrong to me, but it is what it is. But I appreciate, as always, you tuning in. And just look at the numbers. Again, I tell people, go check them out yourself. Connecticut Department of Health. Go run their website. I mean, you got to break them down percentage-wise, population statistics, and break them that down. But the other raw numbers are there. Go on there. They're there every day. Track them over the time. Go back. Do the legwork. You'll be surprised that it's not as bad as you think. And again, that's the other thing I want to remind you. 1%, and I'm being conservative, 1% of the population in Connecticut has died of COVID-19. And I guarantee you it's lower than that. I'm more than willing to bet it's lower than that. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. God bless. I love you. And have an awesome night.